Playoff baseball is here. NFL football, college football. We're almost at the point where Maction is a thing again. Niko, there's no better time. And I'm going to be joining the 28 Club in less than 2 weeks as people are listening to this. So that is
absolutely it's
for another huge weekend. But let's talk about a little bit of what we have. We'll have some predictions to kick things off. So if you're joining us early, it's a good thing that you're doing so. Niko and I both went through the playoff brackets. So just to keep everybody up to date what the first round matchups are right now, we're in the middle of the wild card series, which has moved to a 3-game series instead of the 1-game playoff. The Reds and Dodgers and the Padres and Cubs in the NL. And then we have the Tigers and Guardians and the Red Sox and Yankees, which I'm sure I heard a little bit about how I think the Guardians and the AL series have already been played. We're recording this in the middle of the NL series. So I guess I'll let you pick. Do you want to start AL or NL? And let's focus just on this wild card round and what we're thinking about. I'll put our graphics up on the screen so people can see if
by the time most people are listening to this, every series could be finished. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time because our predictions could end very quickly is all I'll say. We know as we're recording this, one game is moving on to the third game and the other one is in the bottom of the ninth. So we're very close on that one. And the other two hasn't even played their game 2 yet. So it could be both ended, could be very, very short, could be very quick. But I watched a little bit of the games yesterday. Like I said, there's not much to watch on a Tuesday night. I'm not a Dancing with the Stars fan. I did watch some of the WNBA semifinals game between the Fever and the Aces, so I had that on while I was watching baseball, and that was a great game. But based upon the first game, I think there are 2 evenly matched series and 2 that should go in one way. I think the Dodgers are a far superior team than the Reds. The Reds are the congratulations. Enjoy I hope you have extra 5 days without vacation. Congratulations. And I think, frankly, the Yankees, with how much they choked recently and placing the Red Sox, I think they are massively outmatched. And I frankly think that they just continue to show why they are not playoff baseball already. And they are a great regular season team. And Judge is a great regular season player, but he's not a postseason player. The other 2, Tigers, Guardians, the first 2 games have been incredible back and forth. Cubs and Padres. Obviously, I'm wearing my Padres hat. It's been about 50 down the line. Cubs were able to come back, storm in game 1, and Padres have the lead in game 2 now. So I think those are probably 2 evenly matched. They're Yankees, Red Sox, Reds, Dodgers. I just don't. The Reds are happy to be there.
That's pretty much the consensus of everybody. They were the last team to make it into the playoffs in the NL side. They have some superstars, and if you make the playoffs, you have a shot at something. But baseball is one of those sports where it's very tough that you don't get the lower seed or the lower level teams to upset a lot. So the Reds did a good job of making the playoffs. Hopefully they can now turn this into something moving forward. But I think including Reds Nation, probably assumed that one was going to go that way.
Reds Nation is hoping for a win and not to get swept 2-0 and try to get
it's been rough in Cincinnati recently. So getting one playoff baseball win might salt away a little bit of the wound that has been the Bengals season up until this point. We're pretty even on our wild card series, so I'll let you finish out and talk about the rest.
Yeah, I took Red Sox, obviously. I took Guardians over the Tigers. I think Guardians at home, I think that gives them the slight edge. They're a team that was red hot at the end of the season, and frankly, were one of the worst teams in baseball up until the midway point of the season. And the Tigers were a team that was in first place that backed their way into the postseason, unlike what the Mets were trying to do, but couldn't do. So I have the Guardians in that one, winning that first one. On the other side, obviously, I have the Dodgers. I took the Padres. I think the Cubs are a good team, but I do think the Padres, with their midseason acquisitions of Mason Miller out of the bullpen, who was shut down today, and then obviously O'Hearn from Baltimore has been a big power bat out of the outfield for them, helpful too. The Padres are this team that are very good and just struggle to flourish the hot moments. Machado is falling apart at hot moments. Tatis falls apart. But now that you have the full lineup 1 through 9 in a bullpen and a starting group that can put it all together, you should be able to win the series. The Cubs just frankly are a good young team. Pico Armstrong is a great player. Obviously, Dansby Swanson, who won the World Series with the Padres, not the Padres, the Braves a few years ago, has been very good. They have some great pitching as well. It's a very evenly matched series. I just went the Padres route because I feel like they have the more talented team.
No, I think the wild card series, other than the Reds, it could go either way. I like the way that Skubal pitches, so I'd love to see Tarek Skubal continue in Detroit. But Cleveland is in this position, and Cleveland has been in World Series. I went with a little bit more of a throwback theme to 2016, so I'll throw mine up here on the screen. My wild card predictions are as follows. If you are following along on YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed, like the video, and check out all the short videos that we've been putting out. A lot of new content that we're putting in through our streams. I have the Tigers moving forward over the Guardians. Even sitting here as a guy who has been once a Yankees fan, that was my team that I claimed in high school when the Rockies weren't good, which they still aren't good, but I still claim the Yankees a little bit because the Bronx and the Italian ties. What I have noticed with them is all of their bat can't play anywhere other than DH. And you only get one of those in the lineup. Aaron Judge can't throw anybody out from start of the grass, let alone from where you're catching a fly ball. Any of those is free bases if you got guys in scoring position. If you got guys on third, that's a free RBI. Just hit it to right field. And by the way, right field at Yankee Stadium, not the hardest thing to hit it out towards. So the Yankees the window's totally closed. Congratulations that they made the playoffs again. But the window of these superstars, the guys that they brought in, I know Soto decided to go there. They're so much older. It's crazy how old. Aaron Judge is a 10-year vet, and he's about ready to start hitting that.
He's mid-30s. They add Ryan McMahon, who's late 20s, early 30s. They have Giancarlo, who's older than Judge. They have Goldschmidt, who's obviously mid-30s as well. They got older than last year. Obviously, Rizzo was older, but I feel like they just did not. They went all in on pitching and all in on veterans, and they forgot we need to play defense. Oh, and we also need to have a pitching unit that can consistently get outs, and they don't have that right now.
And it's 162 games that you have to play, and these guys are worn out. These guys are tired. The Yankees, the way that they've managed the age of their lineup, they have no youth, no freshness left in their legs. I think the Red Sox, whether it goes 3, I think that the Red Sox just have the ability and the legs to go a little bit farther than what the Yankees do. On the NL side, the Dodgers are what the Dodgers are. The fact that they get to start off with Shohei Ohtani in their lineup and not even have to use him as a pitcher at certain points throughout this series, they're going to be set up to go at the Phillies in the NLDS, in my opinion. I think the Cubs, I'm going for the story. I'd love to see a little bit of that 2016 Magic return because 2016 was an awesome time. Freshman year of college, away from my parents for the first time, going on college road trips to play games all over the RMAC. It was a great time, and I have a little bit of nostalgia left in my heart. So I want to see the Cubs beat the Padres. I know that the Padres are very good, much more talented, a little bit more experience, especially in these situations. I'm picking a little bit with my heart, and we both talked about this before we started recording. This is going in very blind. This is going in very cold. I've pretty much watched the only baseball so far when I'm getting my haircut at Sport Clips and maybe a little bit of the first couple of games in the wild card. I'll throw yours back up on the screen if you want to go through the rest of your bracket and finish up with your World Series champion.
I'll start in the NL. I have Brewers Padres in the next round. I put Padres there. Brewers are the fun team that just dominated the regular season, but for whatever reason, they can't figure it out during the postseason. They consistently just falter in the postseason. I would love to see the Brewers make a little bit of a run, but I don't know. I just feel like they're not built for postseason success. Obviously, I want to be proved wrong because I love seeing new teams in there. But the Padres have never won a World Series either. And the Brewers actually have. So I'll go Padres in that one. Dodgers, Phillies, cute story. Dodgers the best team in baseball. Most talented team in baseball. And then I have Dodgers, Padres, battle of the NL West teams in the championship series. I took the Padres giving the edge here. I think this is a matchup that we've seen so many time and time again in the postseason, and the Dodgers have had the upper hand outside of 2 years ago. And I think that the Padres are finally able to get over the hump and get past the Dodgers and get to the World Series.
It's the closest thing that we've had to a Red Sox and Yankees ALCS would be that Padres and Dodgers because those teams truly don't like each other, and those fan bases don't like each other either. So
if I were to say one, I would say the the Giant Dodgers rivalry is a little bit more heated than those two, but they don't like each other at all.
It's not as relevant as it was back when the Giants were winning a World Series every 2 years, but now the Padres have taken it. It's always the Dodgers. It always comes back to the Dodgers because they just have the biggest checkbook and have the most amount of money to ever put towards anything. So Dodgers coming out of the NLCS to play. I'll let you go.
I have the Padres coming out of the NLCS. Sorry, I don't have the Dodgers. I have the Padres being the Dodgers. And then I have Mariners, Guardians. I took the Mariners. I like the big dumper. I don't know why. I like the big dumper, and I like Julio Rodriguez, who's the speedy outfielder that can hit for power for them. So I'll take Mariners over the Guardians. And I took the Red Sox beating up their – I don't want to call it little brother because there's not really a little brother in baseball. Little cousin and the Red Sox moving past the Blue Jays in round one. I think the two teams that are going to struggle with in terms of having this time off, I think it's going to be the Blue Jays. Three teams. I'll go Blue Jays, Mariners, and I think Brewers are the teams that could be hurt by what these first couple of days off of the postseason, letting the wild card games happen. I think the Brewers fall apart, and I think the Blue Jays are the two teams that fall apart and don't get and have bye hurt them. So the Red Sox stay hot and the Mariners stay hot. And then I have the Mariners beating the Red Sox. And I would love to see a Mariners-Padres World Series, which would be between two teams that have never won a World Series. So there was another reason why I did that.
And ESPN would totally just skip over. ESPN would turn into the lacrosse coverage that they had towards the championship of the PLL if it's those two teams. But I think that baseball, it's beautiful that way because you have so many of these. You only have a handful of these teams with the money, like the Yankees and the Dodgers. You have a lot more teams that are struggling, and this is the one shot. And I think that this is a really good shot for the Mariners. I think that this is a good shot for the Padres. Obviously, didn't have them moving on past the wild card series, so my bracket looks totally different moving here on out. I have the Mariners also playing in the World Series after handling the Tigers in the ALDS. And the Red Sox after they beat the Blue Jays. I agree with you with everything you said with the Blue Jays. They've never been in this situation recently. They have no experience to really fall back on. It's long since the days of the Bautista bat flip in the postseason. It's not going to be happening anytime soon. I think that the Red Sox are hot enough. They have the wild card series to play into that momentum. I think that they take care of the Blue Jays. They get stopped by the big dumper in Cal Raleigh, and the Mariners represent the AL in the World Series. The Dodgers beat the Phillies. Because I agree with you that might end at the bank, and Philly fans are only going to be talking about the Eagles from here on out because the Phillies won't have anything, the Sixers won't have anything. Villanova basketball, maybe, I guess that might be the one thing in Philadelphia that people can talk about. The Dodgers will handle them. They will handle the Brewers in the NLCS, and I have the Dodgers in Clayton Kershaw's swan song, back-to-back World Series champions, because baseball is not about the players on the field. It's about being able to handle the money that you put into that roster. And the Dodgers have proved time in and time out they can handle this checkbook better than anybody. This is the weakest AL that they're going to go up against. Whoever they play is worse than the other teams that they've played in the World Series situations they've been in recently, in my opinion, which I guess doesn't mean a ton when we're talking about baseball, but that's how I see things.
Who they beat last year? They beat the Yankees, who were not very good, and who obviously fell apart very quickly. Obviously, and all those teams that they played against the Astros when they made the World Series were much better than anything at the AL too. I don't hate that at all. If the Dodgers are able to put it together and get it hot at the right time, they're easily the best team in baseball. So I don't hate that at all.
Well, we're going to put these up on our Twitter channel, so make sure that you're following us on X. I guess I should call it the right name, at FEOTB Pod. Make sure that you vote in the poll that we put out. All of the teams that we have moving forward are not the wild card teams. So our wild card picks might be outdated by the time this episode comes out, but you guys can see whether or not we stick out. The rest of the postseason. Playoff baseball is much more exciting than anything else that goes on during the regular season besides the All-Star break. Speaking of things that are getting exciting,